Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. Do you want to become a vector graphics artist? And I mean, become an artist with no talent like me. I've literally created thousands of vector graphics, high quality graphics for all types of projects on my laser and my print and cut. And I got to tell you that I used to rely on programs like Corel Draw and Corel Zara and things like that until I discovered Lightburn. Lightburn is a powerful, powerful graphics design tool. And today I'm going to show you how you can become a graphics designer with no talent whatsoever. So let's get started. And you see here, these are some of my Christmas decorations, my tree hangings. I do a lot of these at Christmas time. I batch these 8 at a time on 200 by 300 millimeter birch, and they come out really superb actually. And if you look in here, these are all drawings. And I didn't draw them. I mean, they're mine. I made them, but I didn't draw them. So let me show you how I did that. So I'm going to get rid of these for a minute, and we're just going to bring in one. Now, let's say you went on the internet and you saw something like this, and you said, oh, I want to make that. Well, you can make it in Lightburn. All you have to do, and I'm not saying that you copy anyone's work, okay? And we're not going to copy someone else's work. Now, this is my work, and I'm going to show you how I did it, but it was originally someone else's, and it was very similar to this, but not the same. And that's the key. Make something similar, but not exactly the same. This is how we do it. I took a picture or a screenshot, brought it into Lightburn, and I copied it. Now, we're going to pretend this is an actual picture, although it's not. But this is a graphic, so you can bring someone else's graphic in, for example. Now, what we want to do is duplicate this. And how do we go about doing that? It's very simple. We're going to start out with the basic shapes, and the basic shapes are the circle and the rectangle. So let's go ahead and grab the circle. And if we start at this side of the shape and end at this side of the shape, we'll get something about the same size or so. And I'm going to hold down Shift, I'm going to left click, and I'm going to drag this out to the opposite side. I'm going to come up here to my selector tool or press the escape key. I'm going to grab this, and you see it's about approximately the same size. So I'm going to bring this over to here, and there's our circle. So now what we do next is we want to have the inner circle as well. So we're going to select it. We're going to come over here to offset shapes. Going to click the offset, and we're going to move the arrow key over here up or down until we get, and actually what we want to do is make sure we're going inward so that we maintain the same size. We're going to click the arrow key until we get to the point where I'm going to keep clicking until it looks about the same, and that's pretty close. I'm going to say OK. So now we have our two circles. So next what we want to do is get this piece right here with the curved sides. We want the rectangle with the curved sides. And yeah, you can take the line tool and you can trace it out, and that's actually pretty easy to do. That's one of the ways you can do it. You can start here, click there, click here, click there, click there, click there, click there, come back across to here, click, 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 and click. And then once you're done, to get rid of the line, you right click, select it, and drag it off. And there we have it. And that, that's an easy way to do it, is by using the line tool. Now notice with the line tool it's not perfectly straight, and you could always come in here and you can go to tools, and you can come down here to edit nodes, pass your mouse over here and press the S key and just smooth it out a little bit, one way or the other. But we're not going to do that today. What we're going to do is we're just going to take a rectangle. We're going to put it about the same level as this one, drag down to about this level here, come straight across like so, come over here to the selector key or press escape, drag it out so that it just covers that line, drag it out this way so that it covers that line, and now it looks to be about the same size. And one thing we can do is we can check it like that, and yeah, it is. So that's good. We'll actually put it right there and then use our arrow key to get it back over to here. And now it's overlapping the inner shape. So we'll go ahead and click on the inner shape, then we'll hold the shift key. We'll click on the rectangle, and you can tell that they're selected because you see all the little marching ants running around in a circle. And at this point, we're going to come up here and we're going to use the Boolean Assistant. Right here, Tools, Boolean Assistant. Now this will give you a preview of what you want. That's not what we want. That is right there. That's exactly what we want. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Say OK. And then we're going to drag this off. So now we have our piece. It's an exact match to that one. We're going to come back over here and recreate our inner circle by coming back over here to the offset shapes, clicking on that, and it's already set from the last time. So all we have to do is say OK. So now the next question is, how do we get this shape up here and this shape down here? Well, we're just going to draw another rectangle. So I'm going to take the rectangle and I'm going to start from here because this is the level that we want to cut. I'm going to come across like that all the way to there, and that's approximately what we need. And then I'm just going to slide this over here with using my right arrow key, and I'm going to press down the control key. And I'm going to shrink it a little bit until I have the exact size. Now I'm going to hold control and move this very slowly, and that is about the exact size that I need right there. So now, again, we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier. We're going to click on the rectangle, click on the circle while holding the shift key, and we're going to come back to the Boolean Assistant one more time. Tools, Boolean Assistant. We'll move it out of the way. And we'll find what we need. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. So it's got to be that one. So we're going to click on that and say OK. Now we have our cutouts. And at this point, we can click on the cutouts and ungroup them so that we have two separate cutouts. And this is going to be important for later. We can also take this and move this back into place so that we have the same thing that we have there. So now I'll just press control and just move it just a hair up so that it's perfect, and there it's perfect. So now you see we have an exact copy of what we have over here, but this is our own design. It's not really an exact copy. It's close, but it's not an exact copy. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab a window from Google. I'm going to bring this in here. And what I did here was I searched for pine tree. Then I searched for clip art. And then when I scrolled down in here, I found the one that I wanted, which is the one that you see on the right. Sometimes it takes a little bit of scrolling, but eventually you're going to find the one that you want. And I clicked on it, and I'm just going to go copy image. And I can close that. Now in Lightburn, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say paste. So there's our image. So now we have our tree. So now with the image selected, I'm going to right click on it again, and I'm going to come down here to trace image. And I'm just going to say OK. Lightburn does a good job of tracing images. I'm going to drag that trace off. I'm going to click on the original image and hit the delete key. Now this is not exactly what I was looking for because it's got this piece down here. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to ungroup this selection. I'm going to click off of it and then click on this piece right here and delete it. Now I have exactly what I want. At this point I can click on this, shrink it down to about the size that I want. Now I'm going to think that that's pretty close. Maybe I'll go just a hair. Right there is about what I'm looking for. So we have our first tree. Now I'm going to hit Control plus D, and that duplicates what I just did, graphic I just made. I'm going to bring this one over to here, and I'm going to shrink this one down to about what I need for the other tree. And that's going to be my right side tree. Then I'm going to hit Control and D one more time to duplicate it, bring it over to this tree, and I'm going to shrink this one down to the size that I need over here, approximately. So there's my three trees. Do you see how easy this is? This is really simple once you know how. So at this point, I'm going to put these in place. I'm going to drag this one over to here, like that. I'm going to drag this one over to here, and now I'm going to use my Control key and my arrow key just to move it very slightly, like that, just so that they touch. I'm going to bring my third one in, and use my control key again and my arrow keys, and I'm going to bring this one in until it touches like so. So now I've got my 3 trees and I've got my semicircle. So I'm going to click on the semicircle. I'm going to press shift, click on this first tree, and then I'm going to click on the semicircle. And I'm going to come up here again, come to the Boolean assistant. We can't do these all 3 at one time. And we're going to look and see what it is that we're looking for. And there it is right there. So we're going to say that. It's easier to use the Boolean assistant. So now with this selected, we're going to select the second tree. So we're going to select the second tree, select the semicircle. We're going to do the same exact thing again. Come to the Boolean assistant and click on the B minus A and say OK. So now with these 2 selected, I'm going to press shift again, select my third tree, and this time we're going to do A minus B and say OK. And you get a preview so you know which one it is. So now we've got our 3 trees. I messed that up just a little bit. Normally I would back up and redo that, but I'm not going to worry about it. This is just for demonstration purposes. So now you see we've got our 3 trees. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in Google again, and we're going to search for a bow tie. And I searched bow tie, clip art, and vector graphics, and I found one that I liked right here. So I'm going to copy that image. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to come in here and paste it. And there's our bow tie. And it looks pretty similar to what we have there. So again, I'm going to right click on it, come down to trace image. I'm going to say OK, drag it off, click on the original and delete it. And now I'll bring this up and bring it down to about the same size or so. Bring it over here. And what I'm going to do is snap it into the middle like that. And then with my control key held and pressing my arrow key, I'm going to move it up to what I think is the right spot, which is right about there. So now it's still selected. I'm going to click the ungroup up here at the top, and we've ungrouped it. And now I'm going to click off of it. At this point, I can click on the inner circle, press the control key to restrain it, bring the inner circle down to about the size that I want. And then what I'm going to do is click on this inner one, just the inner one. I'm going to delete it. And then I'll click on this one and delete that one. And look what we've got. Something very, very similar. Now I think what I'll do is I'll have the center attached by moving it down just a hair, like so. And now the center is attached. With this one selected, we're going to press shift, select the outer circle only, come back to the Boolean assistant one more time until we see the desired effect, which is union. And we're going to click on that and say OK. Here we can go ahead and group these. So now you see how it's looking very, very similar. Now I can do one of 2 things here to get these circles. I can use the line tool, and I can just click, 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 click my way all the way around this one. Or I can just select this one. We'll ungroup that. I'll just select this one and press Control and D to duplicate it. And my zoom is scrolling in and out. To move the work plane, I'm holding the center mouse button down and dragging it around. So now that I've duplicated that, I'll use my right arrow key and bring it over to here. And then I'll hold Control for really small spacing, get it right about where I want it. And now I'm going to hit Control D one more time to duplicate that one and come up here to the top to mirror it. So I'm going to mirror and hold my left arrow key this time. Now I'm holding Control again till I get it right about where I want it, which is right there. And you see how easy this is, folks? You can copy anything. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Google back again. Google is our friend sometimes. And I'm going to put in here snowflake. And we're going to search snowflake. I'm going to do clip art. And I'm just going to scoot this over a little bit and find something similar to that. And I think this one looks pretty good right here. So we're just going to right click on the image, copy, get rid of Google. Right click on the screen here, paste it, and what we're going to do here is right click on this image and trace and say OK. So now we have our trace. Drag it off, click on the image and delete it, and let's just take a look and see what we want, what we don't want. See, I don't want these in the middle, so I'm going to come up here to the top and I'm going to ungroup. And I'm going to get rid of these little guys right here. If I drag from the bottom right to the top left, it'll select all of those just by touching them. So we're going to get rid of those. Now there is a little small circle in the middle, so if we really wanted to duplicate this, we could come here, hold shift, draw out our little circle, press escape, and just take and put the circle right in the middle. It snapped right into the middle there. So now at this point, we can select the image. We can come over to the circle, or actually we could just do it this way. We'll drag from the bottom like that, come up here to the top and group. So now it's a group. So now I'm going to take it and make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to find about the right size, which is right about there. And I'm going to put just a little bit of tilt by grabbing the arrows here. I'm going to put a little tilt on it, like so. I'm going to bring this over to here, and we want to make it fit this one, so we have to bring it down a little bit more, and then just move it to right about there. I think maybe just a little bit more, so I'm going to hold control and very slowly move it, and then maybe just shrink it just a little bit like that, and move it maybe just a little further down. And I think that looks pretty good. We're just going to come up a little more, get the snowflakes right on the line right here so that the line goes through them and it all connects. So there we have our snowflake. Now before we do anything else, we're going to highlight it. Press Ctrl and D, come up to the very top here, flip it vertically, and with the left arrow, we're going to move it off to the same exact position on the other side, which seems to be right about there. Now, one at a time, we're going to select the snowflake. We're going to hold down Shift, select the outer circle, not all three of them, just the two. Come back to the tools and the Boolean Assistant one more time. And we're going to look for the right one just by passing our mouse over it. And there it is right there. So it's B minus A. We're going to click that one, say OK, and there we have it welded. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to click the snowflake, hold down Shift, click the circle. I'm going to come back to the Boolean Assistant. So we're going to do A minus B this time and say OK. Now you'll see this is all welded together. And that's basically what we have here. Now there are slight differences here, and this is what you want if you're copying, someone else's work. You want to have the slight differences. And look what we've got, folks. We've got almost an exact copy of the original piece that we started with. And how easy was that? It really wasn't hard. And maybe you'll have to watch this video a couple of times. I would suggest that you actually follow it step by step. Do it, twice. Do it 3 times. And you'll get the hang of it. And it's really easy to do. And guess what? I'm not going back to those graphics programs unless I absolutely have to. And you can do this with anything. It doesn't matter what the graphic is. So now these are the Christmas decorations that I make. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upload this file to my forums. So Christmas ornaments, art library, I'm going to upload it to my forums. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I have 20 of these, all different designs. You can bring them out all at once, or you can bring them out individually. And I think you'll like these because these are cutouts. So now in order to cut it out, there's 2 things that you have to do. And we'll just cover that really quickly. So let's go ahead and select this and get rid of it. Let's get rid of all of this. Now we just have this left. We're going to select it, bring it over onto the work plane. I'm going to size it. I'm going to put this in inches because the widest point should be about 3 inches, something like that. That's how I do mine. And now I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to talk about cuts and layers. So now, this is a square piece of wood that we're going to cut this out of. So what we want to do is we want cuts to be made here. We want this to be cut. We want this to be cut out, and we want this to be cut out. We also want these to be cut out. So what are we going to do? The very first layer is going to be the blue. So over here in cuts and layers, we're going to move this up by coming to these arrow keys over here. Move it up in the priority list to the top. So now if I right click on this, the blue will be the first cut. Now the outside one we're going to put on the black layer, these little ears inside of here. I'm going to hold shift and select both of them. We want them on the blue layer. And the reason that we're doing this is so that when we come up here to preview, you're going to see that it's going to cut all of the insides out first. and then it's going to cut the outside. And the reason why we do it this way is because all of these pieces, we want to make sure all the little pieces that fall out that create the 3D or pass-through effect, we want to make sure that the workpiece stays stable on our workbed and that it doesn't fall out and then it can't get all the little pieces. So doing it this way, we make sure that the very last cut is the actual piece itself. So all of the inside cuts are made first, the outside cuts are made second. Now if you didn't want it to have the pass-through over here, the pass-through look over here, you could ungroup this and you could get rid of some of the parts of it so that you just have the snowflake look. But I happen to like it this way, and I just run my laser a little slower, and that's all you need to do. So there you have it. We've gone ahead and made ourselves a Christmas hanging, and all of this will get cut out, and these are actually really, really nice. You can either stain them or you can paint them red, blue, and green. And like I said, there are quite a few styles here. There's this one with the moose. You have this one with the star. There's just all different types of graphics here, and I think you'll really enjoy these. There's left-sided version, there's right-sided version, and like I said, I cut these 8 at a time on a 200 by 300 millimeter piece of birch, and it goes rather quickly. With my 5 watt, it took about maybe 90 minutes. With my 15 watt or 14 watt that I have now, it takes somewhere in the area of about 48 minutes. Was the last one that I just did, was 48 minutes, and that was 8 of these. So there you have it. You can become an artist, you can trace anything, and you can add and remove objects and pretty much do anything you want in Lightburn without using graphics software in just a couple minutes. So I hope you learned something today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I thank you for watching.